in the A a little bit too, and everybody don't know everything I've done in the A, so ain't no telling what you found.
Now listen, I have to protect myself here. Like, we're gonna have fun. Respectfully. Making it hard.
Pause. Listen, I know gay people are not supposed to pause people. I know.
Like, give me the proper etiquette. Since we keeping it above.
Yes.
Coming from a straight man to a gay man.
Yeah.
Because every black person has a family member that they really want to have these conversations with.
Yeah. We're family. This is a safe space. You would talk to me the same way you talk to your homies because some of them are probably gay too. Now, the thing about it is, people don't want to tell their friends they're gay. They be sitting there playing PlayStation, smoking that blunt, not knowing he'll probably give you a blowjob if you just really set the right scenario. Somebody called it a bro job the other day. I was like, what? It's a blow job. I think you have the conversation with your friend, straight or gay, just assuming that might be a little extra friendly if nobody's watching.
Come on, man. Come on now, dog. I'm your professor, I will test you in the worst way. Don't bring a scantron, it's pop quizzes all day. Cause of our chemistry, we do biology. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip, man. Can we have a conversation about an uncomfortable conversation? So over the years, like I've talked about it before. I've had a few lesbian female friends. Like they lesbians, so they gotta be females, whatever. And I've learned over the years that having conversations with some of them can be just uncomfortable, right? So when Cam Newton was talking to Jason Lee, it's like, how are we supposed to have this conversation with a guy or conversations with guys? It becomes uncomfortable. A lot of times people, mistake homophobia for just being uncomfortable. And sometimes people just scared to have I would say that's a time you could say somebody's homophobic because they're scared to have a conversation. I remember when I was a kid, I had a family member who was gay, and I was a kid, so I believe he died of AIDS because I saw him once a few years prior, and it was like we went for Mardi Gras, and I saw him again, and I was a kid, mind you, and I was like, "What happened? He's sick. Like he looked like he got." And I had just learned about AIDS or whatever. It was years and years ago, and my cousin hit me like, "Yo," and sometimes kids talk too much. I never forgot that. And then he passed away. And then I remember being in college years and years later, and they had this guy dressed like a girl in the freshman dorms when I was in college, and we treated the dude like we, hey, stay your ass over there, like, and this is gonna, like, now I got to be real cognizant of what I say. Now looking back at it, pause, he probably didn't get treated well. In the sense of he didn't have to, everywhere he go, he didn't have to have people like, I can't be around you. I believe after a while, I just was like, man, whatever, man. Like I wasn't just, acting all crazy around him, but I know he got treated that way. But over the years, I realized people are people, man. You talk to people and treat people just like human beings. Some things that they do may make you uncomfortable, and some conversations, you don't not want to have. But in general, because I'm an avid trash talker, so the lesbians I've come across and some of the gay guys I've come across, even I work with, they're not exempt from me cracking jokes, right? And what you find out is people are people. People have a sense of humor. Man, some of them people, they very quick witted. So it gets hilarious. And what you find out is sometimes your nervousness to talk, it's just you just kind of being sometimes over the top. Now, will I say that there is not a situation where when I say guy to a guy, you don't really want to get too close or joke around too much? Yeah, because sometimes you're nervous that if the guy say something inappropriate, you like, listen, dog, don't make me hit you with to the moon. Don't make me. But and that's the other issue. Like if you talking to a person and they in the gay community, it's like you're afraid that people gonna look at you a certain way, and it's like, whatever, you know, whatever. They just people. But I will say part of what Jason Lee was talking about, I think, becomes one of the problems because it's from, and I say the same thing with the females that I knew are lesbians or bi, whatever you want to call it. Because it's so steeped around sex and sexuality, sometimes they say things that are just over the top about men and sexuality and insinuate things. And other times it's just like, they just flat out tell you, oh, he doing this and he doing that. And it's like, you know what? I don't even want to be associated and talking to you because the next thing you know, I'm going to be in your rumor mill and your gossip. And it's weird like that. It's weird like that. So sometimes you don't want to be, I would say people may be homophobic of homosexual gossip because it's like, oh, they finna say something crazy. So I think that's part of the uncomfortable conversation because you see it not even in social media. If you're a black man, hey man, if you made a certain amount of money, you might be gay. Yeah, I heard he was doing, you know what I'm saying? I heard he was getting his back blown out in the parking lot of a Whataburger, and then they went to McDonald's, so they can get so he can get some, what is that? Cause he got a McFlurry on his back. Like, it's crazy. So that's a whole nother part of it. Like I said, with the females, man, tell y'all fellas, for all you fellas who have been with women who are bisexual, or been with women who were lesbians, or went back to being listen, I'm gonna tell y'all, sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's really cool. Other times, man, they gonna be saying stuff about y'all. And somebody might ask, how you know this? Dog, you gotta take into consideration. How can I put this? I wind up with neighbors. Just in life, you wind up with neighbors. You wind up with people who you went to school with or college with, and then they were one way in school, they another way. You know what I'm saying? Family members. You wind up in those spaces like, oh, somebody you met through a friend, and then you see them again. It's like, oh, okay. So in life, you just go meet people, and when they feel comfortable, they're gonna talk to you. And like I said, most times it's really not a big deal because you're talking about life stuff. I will say, ladies, I would say there are lesbians who um they will try to compete with men, and that's a whole nother vibe. And then there are lesbians who tired of competing with men, and it's a whole nother thing. And there are lesbians who want to always be perceived as ladies, so they're kind of using both men and women. That's a whole different thing. And there are ladies who are trying to dominate men, and that's a whole different thing. So you wind up in situations where it's you don't want to talk. That's why I say, and etiquette is just treat people like people. But as a straight guy, you don't want to talk because you don't know what they're gonna talk about. And when I say people are hypersexual, what I mean is their talk is very much more hypersexual than the heterosexual person, in my opinion, because the identity is based around sex. But other than that, you could crack jokes about the game or it was TV, movies, just life stuff, learn information. It's not really a big deal. It's just that part of the conversation you try to steer away from, you know. But I can't say you can't learn anything from them because you could, you know what I'm saying. But I think the downside to the conversation for most, I would say heterosexual people, straight people, whatever you want to call it, that downside the downside of what could happen in these interactions as far as not sexual stuff, but just the gossip part of it outweighs just a regular human conversation. But I'm going to leave it at that. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna take you.